Welcome back in. Hour number 2, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Week 1 is underway. UAB gets the win last night, 52-42. They get to 1-0. Big night on the ground, not a great night defensively. Quarterback for Alabama State looked pretty good. We'll go back to that one and dive into it a little bit further. USF, nice win against Boise last night, 34-7. Jacksonville State goes down to UCF, and also, unfortunately, last night, the Stanford Bulldogs go down. That was one that we were a little uncertain exactly what we were going to get, knew what we were going to get at quarterback, had a team that was coming in with a lot returning, and was kind of hoping that Coach Hatcher and the boys could find a way to get that one done, but they don't last night. West Georgia, 34-3, gets the win against the Stanford Bulldogs. Quincy Crittenton goes 22 of 29, 154. Brady Stober came in 10 of 15 for 93, just 24 rushing yards for the Bulldogs. Davin Widener, 18 of 34, 209 for West Georgia. And Latrell Morrell went 11 carries, 129 yards for West Georgia. They are the West Georgia
Hornets.
No.
No, they feel like the
Auburn Tigers.
No.
The
Wolves.
Peaches.
They're the Wolves.
I got nothing.
They're the Wolves.
Oh, that's
Ooh,
weird.
I
What do
like
they need
that.
to be like the mean wolves or like the gnarly wolves? By the way, gnarly wolves
Definitely.
would be a sweet mascot. By the way, yeah, it was. Stanford lost 3 fumbles last night, and you turn the ball over, you're gonna have a hard time winning football games. All right, Missouri last night, GMAC. Tough to know exactly what we're gonna take away from playing Central Arkansas. But Bo Prabula looked the part. We wondered about a lot of parts of his game. We didn't really wonder about the mobility part, the rushing part, but he proved that to be something that he's not going to have a problem with. Kind of like Polar Bear Services has proved to all of our listeners what they're capable of doing.
Yeah, it's the best. I mean, I've been using Weston the guys for a long time. They just do a really good job of making sure that the job is done right. They have a professional staff that can do so many things around your house. That's what I love most about them. I almost called Weston the guys the other day because we had a flat tire. I'm like, well, I just call him for everything else. I might as well call him for that. It's amazing. When they can come out, they can help you with your plumbing. They can help you with their electrical. But right now, I mean, we have really, really nice fall weather going on right now, which means the cold weather's coming. It will be here at some point in the next 2 or 3 months. Make sure your whole system is ready to roll for when the temperature continues to change. Go and check them out today because they are the very best when it comes to your HVAC system. They're also a trusted, certified Train provider as well. So remember, if you have a problem with your plumbing, electrical, heat, or air, just pick up the phone and call the Bear. It's 205-497-BEAR. That's 497-BEAR.
Steven in Texas just tweets in, Schwarbs, he's batting 230s at Cole Cubelic. He's a stud, no doubt. I don't care. Once again, 90s baseball reincarnated. You hit it 480 or you don't touch it. I don't see what the problem is. What am I missing? I want to see 121 mile per hour exit velocity or a strikeout. I don't care I don't care about opposite field dinks and dunks. If I wanted that, we'd go to the 40s. We're good. Schwarber's the man. Sorry, had to get that in. People tweeting into the show. I did mention a little bit earlier, Greg, that some folks are a little concerned about what we're going to get in Tallahassee weather-wise tomorrow. AC's dad tweets in, morning, fellas. Weather forecast for Bama FSU calling for lightning storms from about 2 to 9 with a 2:30 kick. And if that happens, will this game even be played on Saturday? By the way, Greg's the one to ask about that because he has lived that life. He has been right in the middle of that before. What do you think about the weather for tomorrow, GMAC?
Yeah, and I feel like I did Florida State season opener, I want to say 4 or 5 years in a row. And I think we dealt with storms every time. You know what I mean? With the one exception being when we had Notre Dame at Florida State. I think it was 2021. That game kicked on time. So this is not that uncommon. The challenge is in the event in which you do have multiple delays, you have that 30-minute window if the Lightning gets in within, 8 miles, I think is what it is. It might be 6. I can't recall exactly what the number is. But you have a decided advantage as the home team. Like that is something to be worth noting. Because if you're the home team, you have access to your entire facility. And if you look at where Florida State's facility is, it's connected to the stadium. So they can go and, in theory, use hot tubs, cold tubs, what have you. And if you know a lot about what visiting locker rooms look like, they're not usually very good. So it's something to monitor, but it is what it is. Mature teams handle these things better, and I happen to think Bam has a very mature team.
As far as how the weather impacts it, getting it in, that just depends on lightning in and of itself. That's it, right? I mean, it's because it doesn't matter the amount of rain that's dumped. It's just if the lightning's there and they can't get on the field to go even attempt the game, that'll be a problem. And you do get concerned, like you said, with delays. What was it, Notre Dame at Louisville or NC State a couple years ago, where like the staff was up there buying them hot dogs and whatnot because they didn't bring enough food because they got delayed so many times, and the guys would come in and eat and then go back on the field and come in and eat. And they're trying to get them pizza and popcorn from the concession stands. I forget where that was, but I remember it being Notre Dame.
It's definitely a thing. Like, you have a huge advantage being the home team when you deal with a weather delay. You do. You just have access to everything. Like, it's all your stuff is right there. Now, if you have a separate facility from the stadium, like, for example, Alabama in Tuscaloosa, if there were a weather delay, it would not be outrageously advantageous. Yes, the home locker room is far more comfortable than the visiting
Auburn would be the
locker
same
room.
way. Yeah, Georgia would be the same way.
But you're not going to bus back to the Malmore facility during a weather delay to go get in the cold tub and get some stim. Like, that's not going to happen. But your training room's usually better. I mean, I've been in visiting locker rooms where we had to get taped in the showers. I mean, your training room becomes the shower. And it's really uncomfortable. It's oftentimes cramped, and it's not ideal for staying loose. So
tell me more about playing at Arkansas.
Arkansas, I don't know how it was when you were there. By far the best visiting locker room in the SEC.
I meant because you said taped in the showers. I was referencing being cramped for space, and immediately Arkansas is what came to mind.
Really, because when we were there, maybe they had renovated Reynolds Razorback. Might have absolutely happened. I don't know. But it was the track and field locker room. So it was fantastic.
Yeah, no, we didn't have that. That's right, because they had not done that end zone when we were there. So yeah, that's all been done now. We had a little corner off to the right, and you would go in, and I mean, you'll be able to understand this. All of our lockers were in like one room. You know, usually you have like at least two rooms where things are separated, and they have just little benches going across, and your helmet didn't even fit in the locker that they had for you. So all your stuff's on the floor. You have these little benches. Guys are in the showers getting taped. Guys are getting taped outside in the tunnel. I mean, it was the space was not ideal, to say the least. But it's not like it was gross or old or morbid or anything. It's just that it was small. It was tiny. I mean, you were like you.
Yeah, they're not like. It was
the only locker room right. It was the only locker room that as soon as you got in there, you're like, I just want to get out of here. Like I just want to I just want to go walk around. Like I can't hang out here anymore.
The worst one for us was Vanderbilt. That was in 2007. It was atrocious. Second worst one, Auburn. Auburn's visiting locker room is god awful. It is so bad. It's so tight. I swear it has 7-foot ceilings. Like you feel like you're gonna hit your head on the ceiling. Like it's just really uncomfortable. I don't know what it's like now or if they've done anything to it. I just remember that being a very uncomfortable locker room, and I would say LSU third. LSU was bad, real bad. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, Buffalo Bills in Buffalo is terrible.
What was worse, their locker rooms or their icy white uniforms they're going to wear this year?
The icy whites aren't bad. I'm never going to be down on icy white uniforms, but the locker room in Buffalo was brutal, and I don't think it was heated. And we always seemingly played there like week 17. So it was not great. But yeah, dude, it was like Vandy was the worst. Auburn was second worst. LSU was third worst. And then Buffalo Bills, worse than the NFL.
Okay, so there you go. Your worst.
That was the one at Bryant-Denny.
I do agree with you on LSU though. The low ceilings, I don't know what it is. It does something to you. You're just like,
yeah, it's the low ceilings, and I swear they all have them. It's got to be an 8-foot ceiling. I'm sure it is an 8-foot ceiling, but it feels like it's 6. You feel like you're like bending over to walk from one end to the other. Yeah, because especially with cleats and stuff, like you're probably on the hoof with cleats and stuff, you're probably staying 6'4", with cleats and a helmet, 6'4", 6'5". For you, maybe 6'6", 6'5", 6'6", and it just feels really uncomfortable.
I'm wondering if they like Ferentz did the study of like pink locker rooms, or like would be more calming, and so they painted locker rooms pink. I wonder if like low ceilings has an effect. There was some study done a long time ago, and the reality is they probably just jammed it into a corner of the stadium somewhere and said, all right, this will be the visitor locker room. Now let's go with it. Because the placement
100%.
for LSU's is kind of odd, like just like off to the sideline, just like right there. It doesn't feel like it's one that they created just to be that. Nonetheless, Missouri last night, I'm not going to say big win at Central Arkansas, but I prefer and enjoy when teams go handle their business. I don't think teams get enough credit for doing it. We see so many teams that have to fight their way through these opponents that they should just take care of and handle in regular openers. But Bo Prabula last night, he looked the part. You got to give him credit for that. 55-point win, largest in a season opener since 1928 for Mizzou. That was against anyone?
Kansas?
Center College from Kentucky. And that was a 60-0 win. So Prabula, 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. First player with 2 pass, 2 rush touchdowns on 80% completed in a game since Corby Jones in 1997. First Missouri player with 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns in his first game with the school in the last 30 years. Unfortunately, Greg, Sam Horn on his first play in the game in the second half gets injured, did not return, doesn't look like he's going to be back soon. So that's a tough one, but I thought Aaron Murray made a great point on the game when he said, the good news for Prabula here is he knows he's going back out, so it becomes even a little bit more of a game rep where you go in at halftime, whatever you want to try to do differently, whatever you need to get back to that you liked a little bit more, that you didn't think you were going to emphasize enough. Like he now sees, okay, here's that break, that time off, we come back in. We get to go in here in the second half. So from a field perspective, I think that helps him just a little bit more. But you hate to see the kid Sam Horn go down. I mean, he's been around the program for a while. Multiple injuries now have hampered him. Brutal the way that one happened for him. But you got to be pumped about what you saw from Bo Prabula if you're a Missouri fan last night.
Yeah, I thought Prabula was fantastic. Hate it for Sam Horn. We'll start there. I mean, seeing him in crutches and a cast and whatnot just stinks. So just really, really bummed about that. And it is, with the way Prabula plays, I mean, having depth at quarterback would be valuable. So here's hoping that Sam Horn can return at some point. I thought Prabula looked fantastic. I don't care that much about the level of competition. I looked at the ball placement, a couple throws downfield that were right on the money. We knew he was athletic, but I thought he looked really twitchy. I just thought he was excellent. I know who it's against. I'm not giving him the Heisman. We'll see what he does against real competition. But I've seen him play well against real competition in kind of a role last year for Penn State where he was utilized every game. Just wasn't the starter. But I have a feeling, man, that kid's got some game. Like, he was excellent last night. And I think there's maybe even more there.
I thought he looked poised. I thought he never seemed like he panicked. The accuracy of the throws or something. I mean, think about how many times we get these athletic quarterbacks that are asked to do things on the ground, and the majority of their skill set is just run around, make plays. The accuracy usually doesn't hold up. It's usually not a strength, and I thought it was for him last night. Thought he had nice touch on the deep ball, good accuracy on the deep ball. Some of the intermediate stuff when the ball needed to get out, it got out on time. Hey, he felt like he had a great grasp of the offense. Once again, like Greg said, I know who it is. I know who they're playing. But you know operation better than any of us. And it felt like he had full control of that Missouri offense last night.
Yeah, I thought he was terrific. I mean, I know everyone's going to continue to point to the fact that it was Central Arkansas. There's nothing wrong with pointing to that fact. There's nothing wrong with that. But you cannot discount the playmaking ability and potential of their quarterback, married up with an offensive scheme that I thought Hardy looked fine. You know, I thought he played well.
I thought he looked great.
So I mean, he didn't have a ton of touches. I think what he finished with 11, 12 carries. It just looked easy.
10 for 100.
And 10 for 100. Okay, so yeah. It should have looked easy, but sometimes it doesn't. Ask Wisconsin how easy it was last night. Ask UCF how easy it was last night. Ask some of the other teams that were in dogfights deep into the fourth quarter against lesser. Ask Duke, by the way, who was tied with Elon there at halftime, or it was a close game at halftime. I mean, teams go out, take care of business, do what they're supposed to do, play to their expectation. I think you should feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, you could continue going a little bit further with that one last night. Minnesota Buffalo, I think that was 10-3 at the half, and was not looking good for Minnesota at all in that one last night. Houston takes out Stephen F. Austin 27-0 yesterday. Connor Wigman, former A&M quarterback, 15-24, 159, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. So Houston, a team that a lot of people have kind of pointed to, saying, watch out what they might be able to be this year. They could end up being dangerous. Bowling Green over Lafayette 26-7 last night in the debut for Eddie George. They get the win. He gets to 1-0. Delaware takes out Delaware State. Did we find out our trinket for this one yet? Do we know? Can we get the trinket that we're playing for in this rivalry game? I still don't know what it is yet. Monroe, by the way, took out St. Francis 29-0. That'll be Alabama's opponent next week. So the Warhawks, Aiden Armenta, 12 of 23, 95 yards passing. Landon Graves went 2 of 3 passing, both threw a touchdown. Braylon McReynolds, 11 carries, 113 yards for ULM yesterday. So that stretch play that they're going to run and kind of build the offense around under Brian Vincent, one that Alabama is going to see next week. And looks like they kind of had that thing going last night. You mentioned Duke over Elon, 45-17. Oak State over UT Martin last night, 27-7. Minnesota survives Buffalo, 23-10 last night. And then Wisconsin, 17-0 over Miami of Ohio. Greg, another one that you want to talk about that one's 3-0 at the half. I look up and see, okay, what's happening here? Like, what's going on with Wisconsin? Another future Alabama opponent. They do run 43 times, 165 yards. Dylan Jones, 14 for 73. Danny O'Neal, 12 of 19, 120 through the air last night, threw a touchdown, threw a pick. Billy Edwards, 6 of 13 for 68 yards. So Daquan Finn.
Well, the other thing is, like, Wisconsin's quarterback got hurt again last night.
Yeah. Well, Danny O'Neal was in the game, right?
Correct. And it was non-contact. I didn't see it. But he got hurt when he handed off to – I mean, it's not often that you see a non-contact and you're sitting there saying, like, oh, he'll be fine. Like, not good. And they showed a video of him walking off. He didn't walk off gingerly. He walked off, I don't want to say with like a pep in his step, but he walked off looking like he was okay. But Luke Fickell said, quote, hopefully it's a good sign that he was able to rejoin the team at halftime, after halftime. So if he can't go, maybe it was precautionary. That's a problem because he was the handpicked guy by this staff to go and lead Jeff Grimes' system. And they, of course, lost Tyler Van Dyke last year, and the season went to hell in a handbasket. Hopefully that doesn't happen for Wisconsin again this year.
Well, it was almost like a handoff, and then he was going to, like, fake sort of like he was going to, like, fake a little sprint out with it, and he kind of came up gimpy, and it looked like he grabbed his knee. So that could be something as simple as meniscus. It could be ACL gone. I don't know. But like you said, the non-contact portion of it, he hands the ball off and kind of starts to run out to his right and goes down. You don't like that because it's a lot of times those non-contact ones are a little bit more severe. But either way, Wisconsin.
And even if it's not like an ACL or something, like Billy Edwards' best attribute might be his mobility. So if he is for whatever reason unable to play with like a ton of mobility, that really limits what he's capable of.
Absolutely. All right, going to get to Aaron Murray, who was on the call for the Missouri game. On the other side, first, Greg, tell our listeners about Bromberg's.
Well, Bromberg's where I've been going for a very long time. Always so appreciative of the experience that you get when you walk in the door at Bromberg's. The sales staff is so knowledgeable. They do such an amazing job of making sure you stay within budget. You go and make sure that you get the things that you're looking for, whether it's gold, silver, platinum, jewelry, you name it. Natural diamonds, they have that as well. just always appreciate everything I've experienced when I walk in the door at Bromberg's, and they're making that experience even better. If you go and see what they're doing at the Mountain Brook store, the renovation is going to be amazing. It's right there in Mountain Brook Village. It's going to be incredible. They're still open to serve you here right now, but when they finish it up, it's going to take that experience to the next level. So go and check out Bromberg's in Mountain Brook Village and at the Summit. You can also look online at brombergs.com.
I just appreciate that you're pounding the table, like pounding the podium like Saban back in the day, trying to drive home a point on your Brombergs read.
Well, you love it.
They are
You
who we
love it,
thought
don't
they
you?
were. We let them off the hook.
Yes.
Or Brian Kelly after USC last year. And here we are again.
Again.
And you're probably going to be there again tomorrow. All right, we'll get Aaron Murray in next. And we'll ask him, Missouri for real after what he saw in person yesterday? That's next on Jox. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Going to go right to the Higginbotham hotline. Welcome in Aaron Murray of ESPN, the SEC Network, SiriusXM, was on call for Missouri and Central Arkansas last night. Aaron, I thought you made a great point about it was unfortunate what happened to Sam Horn, but Bo Perbula was now going to be able to sort of be the guy coming out of halftime, which as a quarterback just gives you an even better feel of how to operate within your offense, how to act with your teammates, and sort of being the number one QB, which obviously he's going to be named now moving forward with what happened to Sam Horn. But what should folks take away from that? They're going to point to the opponent, but what should folks leave saying about Bo Prabula after that game last night?
Yeah, well, I'll say this about Bo Prabula in the game. The thing that really jumped out to me, Cole, and it was early on in the game, was just how his footwork and timing matched up so well with the receivers. And that's something that takes time. And sometimes it takes, multiple off seasons or multiple seasons to really feel that comfortable in an offense. So I know it wasn't against an SEC type opponent when it comes defensively, but still to see that his eyes were in the right spot, he was throwing with anticipation. I mean, a couple of times, like the route, the top of the route, the receiver creates some separation, but usually quarterbacks maybe are a little bit behind. So they throw it, the guy catches it, DB is able to close that gap, and it's a tackle, or the guy's got to make someone miss. Multiple times last night, the ball's out on time, receiver catches it, and you saw that 5 to 6 yard gap because of that. So I was really impressed to know that, hey, man, this dude has been in a quarterback battle, so he hasn't gotten all the reps off season with the starters, but yet his timing still looks the way it did in that first game. So I was really impressed. We know he's an athlete. We saw him use his legs. We saw him in a lot of really good situations, Cole. Backed up multiple times at his own 1 yard line, drove the length of the field. 2-minute drive, be able to go down the field, score a touchdown before halftime, coming out of half, as you alluded to. So I think, obviously very disappointed we didn't get to see Sam Horn and him get his fair shake at being or possibly being the starting quarterback. But I do think for Eli Drinkwitz and that staff and that football team, you walk away last night feeling really good that, man, we got a quarterback that we knew was athletic, that showed us that he could push the ball vertically down the field, that got some really good situational football in for tape, and now we can move forward and get ready for Kansas.
Looking at Prabula, I thought he was great last night. You already referenced it, and there were a lot of positive take from it. I just thought he played fast. I thought the downfield accuracy was impressive on a few throws, but he can really run. Like, I was looking it up, man. Like, he can really move, and like his numbers are highly impressive. So
what'd you get? What was his MPH? What was his best MPH that you found
last night?
I don't care. Whenever. Did you find one?
I have no idea.
Okay, I thought you went and found his mile per hour last night.
No, I mean I have no idea what his best MPH is. I don't really rely that
21.
heavily. I can look it up
21.
real quick. Yeah, I don't see it. Fast enough is how I would qualify it. But I was really impressed with him last night. In person, though, sometimes that speed is a little different. Like, I can just remember watching some guys in person. It's like, goodness gracious. He's so much faster in person than he looks on tape. How did you kind of quantify his speed last night in person?
I mean, I thought it was good. I mean, he looked like for not miles per hour, but I guess for more of a 40 standpoint. A lot of people love to obviously talk about the 40. Looked like a guy that probably runs like a low 4.6, maybe high 4.5. I thought in the pocket at times moved really well. The one touchdown run, the 40-yarder or whatever it was, no one was open. He kind of backed up a little bit, felt some pressure, moved around, saw the space, and then just took off and ran. And then, listen, like he's going against still guys defensively, and especially defensive backs that are fast guys. They're not 4.4 guys, they're not 4.3 guys. But those guys, they got some speed, and they have angles. And he was able to outrun those angles for that touchdown. So I definitely think game speed wise, yeah, man, like someone in that high 4.5 range, low 4.6 range, where if you're able to do that and get a kind of head of steam behind you, you're going to make some plays like you did last night throughout the ball game. So yeah, listen, to me, the running was something I knew based on tape that he's capable of doing. I think everyone did. It was more the down the field. I mean, 50-something attempts in his career, only 18 passes were attempted over 10 yards during his time at Penn State. So just really not a big sample size. So we can say, like, oh, we don't know, he can't throw the ball down the field. We just haven't seen enough of it. So I love that Eli early in the game had the big post route, which was beautiful. A lot of those, Greg, those deep sail routes to the field were accurate. They were to the outside. The receivers weren't having to adjust. They weren't throwing behind them. And as you know, like, those are some big boy throws. I mean, 18 yards to the sideline from the opposite hash. He was 2 for 2 on those. 2 sail routes into the boundary that were perfectly thrown as well. So, the athleticism, the arm strength, it's not elite, but I would say it's above average. Could make him a pretty deadly quarterback this season.
There was one to the left hash. I thought it was an out route. It looked like, and it was just the coverage was great, but it was right on time. It was right over that sideline shoulder to the wide receiver, and the timing of which he got to the back of his drop and just got it out. I was like, okay, like that's the way it's supposed to look for this young man. So I don't know if that's one that you're referencing there, but some of that stuff I thought was fantastic. We love Ahmad Hardy. Thought he was going to be great. We've been talking about him since we saw him at ULM last year. I felt like you guys were fans of his also, and it felt like from what you were sharing from the staff, they kind of expected him to look the way that he did last night.
No, they love him, man. They said it from the very first time, like, hey, we put on pads, and he ran a couple of dudes over. Not even just ran guys over, but, I mean, the balance of being able to kind of keep his feet and just bounce around like a bowling ball was something that the teammates raved about, the coaching staff raved about, and – can you hear me?
We got you now. Yeah, we lost you for a second, but you're back. You're good.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, they just raved about his balance. It kind of reminded me of, I remember my freshman year, Mike Bobo was like, hey, what do you think about Keith Marshall and Todd Gurley? I was like, Keith looks good in summertime. He's quick. He's fast. Todd's kind of like a bull in a china shop. It's kind of hard to judge him on 7-on-7 alone. And first day of pads, Todd runs over 3 guys for a touchdown, and Bobo looked at me like, you ain't going to be a coach because you have no idea how to recruit, essentially. So, we know what Todd did for the rest of his career. And I kind of get the feeling that's Ahmad a little bit. He runs pissed off, man. You could just feel it last night. You could see it on the tape, but seeing it in person, like that dude just wants to run people over. There's one time, too, where, I kind of joked on the broadcast, he stepped out of bounds and then just kept going. I was like, man, that dude knew he stepped out of bounds, but was still looking for contact afterwards to kind of give someone a stiff arm or run him over. So they're excited about him. Like I said, overall, like quarterback looked good. He looked good. Jamal Roberts, the other running back, looked good. I thought the receivers and tight ends played really well. Cole, to me, honestly, and I'd love to get your thoughts on them preseason-wise, I was really disappointed in the offensive line.
They didn't look good last night. They didn't look great.
Yeah, Caden Green did not look good at all. Got duped inside twice, essentially 2 or 3 plays in one possession. So I walked away I went into the game saying this is going to be a run-first team, good offensive line, good running game, mobile quarterback. And I kind of walked away saying, like, man, the passing game really impressed me. And obviously the running back did too, but this offensive line's got some work to do.
No, right tackle had a rough game. And some of it, I will say, is the protections, the way they manage them. There's a lot of slide stuff in there, and they had some issues with that. But they got to get that cleaned up. Guards leaving the center where you get a D tackle who slanted inside. He beats Tollison up the middle. There's another twist by the left side that they missed. That can't happen. Those guys have been playing football long enough to not allow that. But week 1, we've said it on the show, Aaron, we're not being too definitive about anything yet. We're going to give this thing time to play out because obviously there's a long way to go. What were your thoughts on the defense, and what were the coaches' thoughts going in on the defense when you were able to visit with them?
Well, man, first, Eli hit the transfer portal hard. I mean, was he top 5, top 6 when it comes to bringing guys in this offseason, 22 new bodies? And, I thought he had some home runs with some of the guys. Obviously, we talked about Ahmad on offense, and obviously Bo, too. Both those guys look like they're have a chance to really pay off the season. But, Damon Wilson looked explosive off the edge. 2 sacks where it was just speed right around the corner. Obviously, you got Darius Smith back healthy, and then Zion Young. So they're really excited about those 3 guys. And, you're going to see a lot of times on third down, those 3 on the field together. So Darius and Damon on the outside to move Zion into the 3 technique, and when really their package to get after quarterbacks, because their big issue like a year ago was, hey, we could get in the 4 down and try to play some coverage, but we couldn't get any pressure on the quarterback. And some had to do with depth because Darius was injured. But they really feel like this year they can rush 4. And we know how invaluable that is to be able to drop 7 in coverage and rush 4 guys. So, really good start for Damon, really good start for Darius. It's nice to see him healthy. And, the word that just kept coming out of his mouth is what a freak athlete he is. Josiah Trotter looked good at that middle linebacking position, the transfer from West Virginia, freshman defensive player of the year last year in that conference. Thought he made some big-time plays. They raved about his leadership. And a guy they talked a lot about that we've feels like he's been in college football for forever is Jalen Catalon. And it's not coaches, but players, man. They love him. His football IQ, his ability to blitz off the backside, man, they just could not say enough good things about him. So they feel really good at all 3 levels. I would say cornerback, besides Norwood, maybe some question marks. They like this guy named Santana Banner, he got beat one time early on in the game, but they like his length, they like his speed. But overall, man, like they feel like they can rotate 4 linebackers. We talked about the front. I think the secondary could be good. So I think overall have a chance to be a good defense. We just got to see what they look like next week versus Kansas and Jalen at quarterback.
I know it's impossible to probably answer this question, but I'm going to ask you it anyways. After seeing them last night, has your opinion changed about what they might be capable of from a ceiling standpoint? Like what you thought going in, what you saw. Are they now contenders in the SEC? Are they a dangerous team in the SEC? Where did they kind of land after seeing them last night based on your preseason expectations?
I don't know if I would say contenders. I think there's a lot of contenders this year. We talked about last night on the broadcast. I have probably 7 or 8 teams that you could make a case could win it. So trying to get them into that scenario, I think is going to be a little bit difficult. They got a favorable schedule, 6 straight home games to start the season off. They got 8 home games in total this year, so the schedule lays out nicely. You guys know it's just so hard to judge them in a game like that where the opponent's just so overmatched. But I think I would say, Greg, a little bit more, because I think the big question for me was I knew the defense was going to be good this year. I really did. I think this defense is going to be good. They were good a year ago. I think they could be even better this season. I think Hardy is an improvement at the running back position. The receivers, obviously, we'll see what they do when it comes to replacing Luther, but it was a great start last night with Coleman and Marquise Johnson and Manning, and they really like this freshman Donovan, who they think could be an absolute stud. But if Bo can play even, close to the way he played last night, then yeah, maybe you can say that this team can get to 8-9 wins and maybe get double-digit wins again this season. But I just don't know if you can necessarily sit back and say that they can contend to win the SEC. But I would say this, I think over-under heading into the season is 7.5 wins. I do feel a little bit better saying that they can get over that, get to that 8 or 9 with a bowl game, maybe get that 3rd straight double-digit win season.
What was the biggest, pleasant surprise from either talking to the coaches or watching that team live that, kind of like what Greg said, an individual position group that you left that game saying, all right, didn't feel great about that with that group, but now that's going to be something that's going to cause a lot of headaches for a lot of teams in the league this year?
I like the skill, man. I really do. I thought the receivers really played well. I mean, we've seen Kevin Coleman obviously play at a high level at Mississippi State. I thought he looked really good, very comfortable in the offense. And, as you guys know and Greg knows, like this offense, the primary target is that slot receiver. They like to find ways to get that guy involved in the football game. And you saw multiple times throughout the game they get empty sets or even just, 3rd down, 3 receivers. And he kind of, had that wiggle, had that feel of just getting open between linebackers, finding the soft spot. And that just really is, it's impressive to see that awareness in a new offense and obviously the connection with Bo. And, pregame warm-up, it was those two just working together for about 15, 20 minutes of just on routes, throwing the football. So you can kind of really sense that those guys got a really good timing for each other and have worked really hard this offseason to build that chemistry. So I thought he looked good. I was impressed with Marquise Johnson, obviously major explosive ability, Joshua Manning. But a guy to keep an eye out for, and the coaching staff raved about him, is number 1, Donovan. I'm going to mispronounce his last name. Olubade, I believe it is. Dude is a stud, strong hands, attacks the football, made some plays last night, and just his catch to go, you'd see it immediately, man. Just a couple screen passes, man. Caught the ball, got north and south. He's someone that could be really dangerous this year. And then the tight ends look good. Brett Northfleet, he's healthy, and the coaching staff is really excited about what he can do. A former freshman, all SEC type guy. So I think overall, you're replacing Luther, you're replacing a couple other guys at the receiving position. Obviously, you got Kevin Coleman in the portal, but how are all those guys going to gel? How are they going to look? So I walked away pretty impressed with how the skill looked for Missouri last night.
Yeah, you don't have to convince anybody on this show about Brett Northfleet. Big fans of him here. So we know all about him. We love him. So good stuff last night. Great call. Enjoyed it. Aaron, thanks for hopping on with us this morning. Have a good flight.
Appreciate it, guys. Have a great you guys have a great call this weekend yourselves.
There you go. Aaron Murray on the call last night for Central Arkansas and Missouri. Some really positive takeaways for Mizzou with what we saw, what they did, maybe how they operated in certain ways. We'll talk a little bit more about that on the other side. Also, begin Max Ball. It starts now when we come back on Jox. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Listen online, joxfm.com. The app is in the App Store, iPhone, Android. You can always download that for free. Listen on the go wherever you are. Watch live on YouTube. Just search Jox945. You can tune into the show each and every day. It's that easy with how you can lift us up and help us lift your day up. But, Greg, tell our listeners about ProLift and just what they can do for our friends around their homes.
ProLift's amazing. They can work on any type of garage door, which is great. You hear ProLift, you think it's a brand of garage door. Not the case. No, they are your number one service provider for garage door maintenance in the Birmingham area. That's why they have 200 plus reviews that are all 5 stars. That's why owner Mike has done a great job of creating a company that does not have service call fees. You only pay for the work, not for the visit. They can take care of any style of garage door, whether it's opener repair, replacement, installation. If you're seeing unusual noises, or if you're hearing unusual noises, if you're getting slow response times, if it's shaking, call for a maintenance service today. You don't often think about garage doors being problematic until they are. You can get some preventative maintenance by calling ProLift Garage Doors today. Go to their website at proliftdoors.com. That's proliftdoors.com. Pro lift garage doors, lifting your expectations.
I'm watching some Perbula during the break, G-Mac, and do you give a guy credit for – just take us through a quarterback's perspective here, because this is how it appears to me, and I know this may not be what it's supposed to be. But I thought he was throwing balls to spots instead of throwing balls to receivers. Is that just certain routes in which that's good, or that's more applicable? When is that a real plus, or am I just off on what I'm watching from this young man?
I can't pull the tape yet. Why is your tape working?
Because you're probably trying it on the wrong thing.
Why do you have secret sauce?
It's not secret. It's just there's something that's been super reliable for the last couple of years, and you probably don't use that anymore. So,
I still do. I'm still old school in some ways. So, stop it. Look,
but I mentioned with Aaron, there was an out route that the receiver ended up going and getting it, but it was right where it needed to be. There was a little crosser that actually the official's in the way, but he threw it to a spot and the receiver was able to go get it. Where I feel like a lot of times you're watching guys throw the ball to the receivers and it ends up behind them. It ends up being a little bit low. It ends up they have to slow the route down to be able to catch the ball. In a lot of these routes, do you not want to see the quarterback throw the ball to a spot and kind of force the receiver to go get the football?
I do. I mean, I like when guys are throwing to a spot. That means they're expecting their receiver to get where they've been coached to throw it, and that holds that room accountable. Say if you're not out on the angle and the depth that you're supposed to be out at, then we're not on the same page. Like if I throw to my spot and you're not there, that's on you. So I think there's some benefit to that. I noticed a little bit last night that I felt like it was a pretty simple plan. They didn't do a ton. But all things considered, like there's a lot to like about some of the accuracy he's shown. We know the athleticism, like he's had that. Not concerning. But I did like on the first drive, the deep ball post that was right on the money, right on the hash, right where you want it to be. That's exactly the landmark that you're supposed to throw to. That ball was at is around the 50-yard line, thereabouts, I think, because I went back and watched it last night, and it dropped at the 10. When you throw a post, it's supposed to be on the hash at 42 yards. He threw it at 41. That's ideal. I think there's a lot to like about that. So I think there's a lot of things to feel good about, and if the receivers continue to hit their landmarks, they're going to be in great shape.
Yeah, I liked how deliberate he was when he left the pocket. We see so many guys just kind of either wait too long or wait, then decide to leave, and it's kind of hesitant when are they going to run, are they going to stay, are they still looking? He tucked it and ran a couple times, and then a couple times tucked it, ran, saw something late, popped the ball out. So I just felt like there's a lot of like from Bo Perbula in that game. Let's fast forward.
I like
move
that.
ahead.
I do want to ask you quickly, though, about the offensive line. I thought there were a few times, and I know this is a system that's a little unique, and they play very flat down the line of scrimmage. I thought there were a couple times where their tackles were getting pushed back way too far. And while it worked out against a team like Central Arkansas that's going to run 3-down line with 4 eyes on the inside, is that going to work against SEC teams?
You're referencing run game?
Yeah, run game. Like I felt like the tackles were getting blown up a lot.
Yeah, they tried
against an FCS team.
They were kind of trying to spike that outside zone play, so basically get upfield and force the back to make a decision early. That can be great, but that can really work against you too, man. Like if you start understanding that that's taking place, and you have some conversations on the sideline. Now they're able to watch it with the iPads, and like Ahmad Hardy starts figuring out that tackle's just going to go ahead and kick out, and he's going to ride him upfield, and he's going to push him out. So then the back knows. I will say this about Hardy: he had a great game. He looked great. There's a couple of things in the stretch play where when he develops just a little more patience, I think he was really amped up last night. You could tell the way he's running the football. But there's one time when guard comes off a little bit late on a linebacker, and the linebacker's kind of playing over the top, gets a hold of him late, and he and Hardy kind of collide at the same time with the backer. He hesitates just half a second more and then cuts that back behind his offensive lineman. It's a touchdown for about 50 yards. So there are a couple of those things, like that feel is going to continue to get better with him. And that's just one where, all right, y'all want to play it upfield? It's fine. We're going to start designing some things to go in that B gap, and you go ahead and ride it upfield. We'll cut up underneath it. That's also where split zone is going to come into play, and that cutback on the split zone is going to be nasty. So we run zone the opposite way, and you want to play that thing upfield backside, and our tight end comes in and just kicks you out. You got nobody home. So teams can play it that way if they want to. We have ways around that. And I see what you're saying. I don't want my guys getting pushed, especially against Central Arkansas. But I think it was deliberate on their part with how they wanted to play it, and you're not going to be able to get away with that for a whole game, specifically if we started to prepare on it and we've had reps doing it. So I don't know how much they rep that, but it appeared to be more of a problem than I think it can be moving forward, because I do think that I think Moore's got answers for that. I think Kirby can go back to that and say, all right, if that's how y'all want to play it, and he'll have more film on different teams, they have some ways around it in which they can operate. So we'll move ahead to some of the games coming up this weekend. Let's get going on Alabama, Florida State. We'll start to discuss it next right here on Jox. Welcome back in, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Don't forget, Jox 94.5 and Total Sports Travel giving you the chance to see Auburn take on Oklahoma live in Norman. One lucky winner is going to score a trip for two. It's round-trip airfare, 2-night stay at the National Hotel in Oklahoma City, 2 tickets to watch Tigers Sooners, and transportation to and from the game. Text the keyword Tigers to 205-834-9450 to enter now. Tigers, text that to 205-834-9450 to enter today. Don't miss your shot at the ultimate game day experience, courtesy Total Sports Travel, and your home for college football, Jox 94.5. Contest rules at joxfm.com. The weather, we mentioned the delays potentially for Florida State, Bama, GMAC. Does it bring up any concerns for either side, specifically with wet ball, rain, slower track, anything like that? Any advantage either way that you would see there?
Yeah, I mean, I think one would lead to thinking Florida State would have a slight advantage because they're probably not going to be as reliant on the pass, especially with the injury to Jam Miller and with the absence of Tim Keenan. Um, does that give them a slight advantage? Perhaps. But at the same time, like Ty's a decent sized guy. Like I don't think he has small hands. I think he'll be fine. Rain was never problematic for me. Rain didn't bother you. Wind to me is far more significant. So if it were blowing 35 miles an hour, I'd be much more concerned. But rain, wet ball, it's fine. It is what it is.
Yeah, and I just usually go back to both teams have to deal with it, and it's going to affect both teams. I don't look at either one of these teams saying they have to win the game through the air, or they have to go out there and throw the ball 40 times to win. I think both would like to establish the run. Both would like to run the football first, and then utilize that to do a little bit more through the air. So I don't know if that would be a massive advantage either way. I do think delays, like you said, could benefit Florida State in a pretty big way. Not that it swings the game, but especially if you're talking about 2, 3, 4 delays, in, out, all of a sudden that's you don't know what you're going to get at that point. And we'll talk more about it next hour. A lot of massive games to get to. Auburn, Baylor tonight. Our final thoughts, final picks on that one as we go max ball through the final hour of the show, previewing this weekend's games. We put everything from the last night and week to bed. We're looking for dinner. What's coming up the rest of this weekend next, right here on Jox. Keep it locked on JoxFM.com, the Jox app, or watch us live on YouTube and tell your home smart speaker to enable the Jox skill.